Okay, so let's get started with section 2.4. This question is looking at, we're going to be using the sine and cosine ratios. So we've got this triangle G, H, and J, and we have to identify the side opposite angle G, and then we have to identify the side adjacent to angle G. So for part A, so the side opposite to angle G is going to be line HJ, line segment HJ, and that has a value of 8. So this is the opposite. And now the adjacent side to angle G is HG. And its value is 15. So this is the adjacent side. Now, part B asks us to find sine G and cos G. So sine G, we want to state what the ratio is when it says sine G. So just tell me what the ratio is. So this is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. And what is the value for that going to be? 8 over 17. Okay, good. Now, what is cos G going to be? So I've got cos G, that's going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So what are the values of those? 15 over 17. This is my hypotenuse. Now, both of these are ratios. When the question says determine sine G and it's together, or cos G or tan G or whatever, so it's together, right? The trig ratio with the angle is going to give us ratios. So these are your answers. So finally, in your answer, cos G equals 8 over 17. And, sorry, I said that's, I think I said cos. Sine G is equal to 8 over 17. And cos G is equal to 15 over 17. So that's your final answer for that. All right. Now let's have a look at number 2. Number 2 says, determine the measures of angle K and angle M to the nearest tenth of a degree. So what does tenth of a degree mean? 1 decimal place. All right, so I have to figure out what angle K is and then angle M. And I'm given these two sides. So which angle would you like to find first? Let's find K first, simply because it's the first one that's stated there. So let's mark that off as our important angle of this question and label our sides accordingly. So what are we going to label our sides now? What is this side going to be? Opposite. This is going to be hypotenuse. And then this side here is the adjacent. We don't have a number for the adjacent. So in order to find angle K, we only have, let's see, we have opposite and hypotenuse. So which trig ratio are we going to use? We will use sine angle K equals opposite over hypotenuse. So that's how we decide which trig ratio to use. Now let's fill in our numbers. So sine of angle K is equal to opposite, which is 3, and over hypotenuse, which is 8. Okay, So remember, when we are looking for angles, what do we have to remember to do on our calculator? And how do we write this out properly? So angle K equals sine inverse, and then you want to open your bracket and then have 3 divided by 8, close your bracket. So in your calculator, second sine 3 over 8, and we end up getting 22.024 blah, blah, blah degrees. Okay? Don't round this number. Leave that in your calculator for now. But for now, in here, we're just going to write, here, I'm not going to write the equal sign across from each other. I'm going to write it down here. So angle K is equal to 22.02 degrees. Whoops, that should be a 0. Degree symbol right there. Now we need to figure out angle M. So now, find or determine angle M. So how are we going to do that? Yeah.
It says 1 decimal places.
I'm not rounding yet. Don't round. Don't round here. Don't round yet. Okay, we'll round at the very end of our question. So now there's 2 different ways that we can figure out angle M. What is one of them?
90 minus 22.02.
Okay, so we know this angle is 90, right? And we know that this angle is 22.02. So we can subtract that all from 180 and get, so 180 degrees minus 90 minus 20, sorry, you know what, I should write angle K here. So let's write angle K. That's going to be angle M. So I can just write in the numbers. And if you want to just shortcut it and say 90 minus angle K, that's fine too. Because this, what does this part here equal? 90. So 22.02. So I'm not clearing this number out of my calculator. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go 180 minus 90, and then I'm going to go minus second, and then I'm going to bring up my previous answer. So I end up getting this. So this is my unrounded value. Like here. Okay, so I'll move it in a second. 67.975 degrees. So now let's give our rounded answers. So angle K is going to be 22 point, nearest tenth of a degree will be 0 degrees, and angle M is equal to 68.0 degrees. So this is now our rounded answers. Okay? All right. So I'll pause this recording and I'll let you guys. Okay, so let's have a look at number 3 now. Now this one, it's got a lot of info, it's got a lot of words, so I'm going to read it through once and I might understand it, I might not, and then I'm going to have to read it again. Okay, and then I'm going to show you my trick for reading word problems. So an observer is sitting on a dock watching a float plane in Vancouver Harbor. At a certain time, the plane is 300 meters above the water and 430 meters from the observer. Determine the angle of elevation of the plane measured from the observer to the nearest degree. Okay, so a lot of info, right? Now, where is the actual question that it's asking you? The very last sentence. Okay? So I want you to get the information kind of backwards. So here, what does this mean? Whole number?
Yeah.
Whole number. Whole number rounding. That's all it's going to say. I mean, blah. Okay, round to the nearest whole number. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, it says determine the angle of elevation of the plane measured from the observer. So I'm looking for an angle. So I know that I'm going to have to use my second function, and I'm going to be given two sides of my triangle in order to do that. So I've got an observer. Okay, so this is my observer dude sitting on a bench. There's no bench, he's just sitting. Maybe he's just squatting. Okay? Okay, let's give him a bench. Okay. So side view of a bench, he's sitting on the bench. His feet isn't touching the ground because, okay, now it is. So he's watching a plane. So there's a plane here. Let's draw our plane. And it kind of looks like a shark right now, but I'll give it a wing here. You know what? I'm enjoying drawing my shark plane. Okay. All right, that's the emergency exit door, just in case there's something that happens bad on the plane. You have to jump off the plane. Okay? Now, if you were to jump off the plane, how far would you have to go before you hit the water? 300. Okay, so if you had to jump out of this plane, how far are you going to fall before you hit the water? Okay, water, your jump is going to be 300 meters. All right, so this guy is watching this here. So he's watching it, and oh, seriously. His knees are watching it. Okay, fine here. Stop making fun of my drawings.
People don't sit around and then watch people die.
No one's dying. We're just saying what if something went wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, so see, this water is supposed to be at the same level as our dude watching the plane go by. So can we get on with it? Stop making fun of my picture. All right, so here. Now, does this drawing make sense a little bit? Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, so he's watching. Now we have to figure out what? This is the angle of elevation. So this is our angle of elevation. Let's call it theta. And this, the water, so it's 300 meters above the water and 430 meters from the observer. So the plane is right here. The observer is right here. So it's this line. That's the 430 meters away from the observer. So let's label our sides now. What is this going to be? Opposite. What is this side going to be? Hypotenuse. Now, this is my horizon line. Which trig ratio am I going to choose with this diagram? So I'm going to choose sine theta, and it's opposite over hypotenuse. And sine of angle is, what should we call it? I'm going to call it, just leave it as theta, equals what? 300 meters over 430 meters. And then what's my next step? Make sure you want proper notation here, folks. Theta equals sine inverse. Make sure you have that theta equals, okay? This is an equation all the way through. 300 over 430. And now theta is equal to, it's where you get your handy dandy calculator. Clear that sine inverse. So second function sine. And then 300 divided by 430, close your bracket, do the hokey pokey, turn yourself around, and we get the answer of 44.24 degrees. Okay? So now, we were asked to do what with our answer?
Put it in a non-decimal, please.
So the angle, so we're going to say it's approximately 44 degrees because it says whole number. So if it starts with sentence, we have to end our question with sentence. It's a word problem, people. You learned this in grade 3, right? Elevation, the angle of elevation of the plane is approximately 44 degrees. Okay? So, there you go. There you have it. So the homework questions are right below. They're right here. Have fun with them. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to stop.